If you go back towards the end of 2021, that was when everyone, economists, Wall Street, everyone had high hopes that people are going to start going back to work, that the floodgates were going to open, and everybody's going to go out and get another job. But if you look at the jobs reports, they were actually kind of disappointing. Everyone was disappointed to see the numbers of people going back to work, the numbers of people going out to get jobs. Now, people were getting more jobs than not. I mean, you saw more people get jobs than not, but it's still relative to the amount of people that are not working. It wasn't as high as most economists and pretty much everyone was looking for. So what we're seeing is we still have millions of Americans that are not working, and they're not going back to work fast enough to really help support our economic recovery. And this is where everyone's wondering why. Why are people still not going back to work? Now, to put it in perspective, towards the end of 2021, we saw the unemployment numbers come down to 4.2%. Now, overall, 4.2% isn't as bad as it was. The last time we saw 4.2% unemployment was back around 2017. So it's not horrible, but it's not good either. A 4.2% unemployment is not ideal. So the question is, why is it taking so long for people to go back to work? Now, the obvious answers are because, one, people had cash saved up from this pandemic. They had some extra savings because they weren't spending money. They got free money from the government, so they were able to live off of that. And people were getting the unemployment checks, but those are not there anymore like they were before. So what is the reason that people are not going back to work? Well, there's another CNBC article that highlighted 6 of the main reasons why people are not going back to work, and I want to go over those. The 6 main reasons why people are not going back to work, according to this article, are number 1, this virus, number 2, early retirements, number 3, care responsibilities, number 4, savings, number 5, wages, and number 6, it will take time, whatever that is. So the first reason why people are not going back to work goes back to this virus. And now that we have this new variant, that puts kind of more pressure here. But the number one reason, the first reason why people are not going back to work is this virus, because they're scared of getting sick. They're scared of bringing this virus home and getting a family member sick. And they don't want anything to do with this virus. So they're saying, you know what? My life isn't worth it, or my family's health is not worth it, so they're not going back to work because they're scared about this virus or this new variant. This is also starting to go into a deeper kind of beliefs of a company that people never really had to think about or worry about before, because now people are looking at a company and they're saying, well, what do your vaccine mandates look like? Do you have a vaccine mandate or do you not? And what do your mask policies look like? Do you have to wear a mask or do you not? So this is a new question that people are having to ask themselves, and if a company's beliefs or morals or whatever do not align with a person's, well, it makes it a little bit harder for them to go back to work, because if they say, well, I'm not going back to a company that requires its employees to get a vaccine and wear a mask, and you have other people that say, I'm not going to work at any company that doesn't have every employee get vaccinated and that doesn't have people wear masks at all times, it makes it harder for people to go back to work, because now you're looking at a whole bunch of different factors that people didn't have to care about or worry about before. That factor alone has contributed, at least to some extent, to people being unemployed, because we saw companies fire employees for either not getting vaccinated or for not wearing masks or something along those lines. Like United Airlines fired hundreds of employees who chose not to get vaccinated and who chose not to follow their vaccine mandates. The second thing that the article talks about are early retirements, because older people are more prone to serious illnesses because of this virus. And so a lot of older people are saying, you know what? I qualify for Social Security. I don't want to go back to the workforce now. I don't want to have to risk potentially getting sick. So it also goes back into the first point. And maybe they have some cash reserves saved up. They got some money in the stock market. They got some money in the bank. And so they're saying, you know what? I know I was going to work for another 4 or 5 years, but I'm just going to retire a little bit early. I'm going to start getting my Social Security a little bit early. And I'm just going to start living my life a little bit safer, a little bit quieter right now. So you're seeing a big movement of people actually choosing to retire early because, well, this pandemic allowed them to work from home for a little while. It allowed them to sit at home for a little while and not have to go into the office. And they're saying, you know what? I don't want to go back. So people are just retiring early and they're not looking back. Third is care responsibilities. So a lot of schools have opened back up. People are able to go back into school in person, or they're at least going hybrid in person. But what the article talks about is how sometimes you see certain schools or certain places go into little periods of quarantine. So if you're going to work and then your school suddenly says that, hey, for a little while, kids are not going to be able to come back into the school because of an outbreak of this virus, well, now either you're going to have to request time off from your work, or you're going to have to be able to work from home, or you might have to quit your job. And because of that, parents are saying, well, I can't afford daycare, or I don't want to send my kids to daycare, so now I have to either not go back to work or quit my job. That way I can take care of my kids. And you're also seeing it on the flip side, where kids are also having to take care of their parents. So they're saying that, you know what, I got a lot of people to take care of. A mom or dad got sick because of this virus, or they're just elderly and they need me to take care of them, so I'm not going to go back to work because of that. So you have these care requirements that are preventing people to go back to work. Fourth, which is probably one of the most interesting one, has to do with savings. So in 2020 and 2021, we saw a massive rise in cash balances because people didn't have to pay their mortgage, they didn't have to pay their student loans, they didn't have to pay their rents because the government said you don't have to. Now on top of that, the government was sending out stimulus checks, you might have gotten an unemployment check, or maybe you continued working. In any case, you were getting some sort of income and you didn't have as many expenses. Now, some people use this as an opportunity to go out and just buy a whole bunch of things online, but other people use this as an opportunity to stack their cash, build their savings, and start investing. And some people saw a lot of success from that. Some people were able to pay down their debt, some people were really able to build up a big savings account, and some people were able to invest their money and see big returns. We saw some people make a lot of money in cryptocurrency, we saw a lot of people make money in the stock market, trading stocks or whatnot. And now because of that, you have a lot of people that said, hey, I have a lot of money in the bank. I don't need to go back to work right now. Maybe combine that with some of the other issues that we talked about, and people are saying, hey, you know what? I made $1 million because of Bitcoin. I'm not going back to my job where I was making 40 grand a year. And this is actually some people. I have a friend who was working an average job and has made now over 7 figures in Bitcoin, and has decided that he's going to quit his job and is not moving outside of the United States because he doesn't want to have to deal with the regulations and taxes inside of the United States. But this is something that we're seeing happen. Now, not everybody is a Bitcoin millionaire, not everybody made millions in the stock market, but you did see a lot of people build up their stock and cash balance, which is great. And because of that, they don't have the real pressing need to go back to work. Now, we also see the flip side where once this free money started to go away, you saw credit card debt skyrocket, and some people use this extra money to buy a whole bunch of liabilities, which are things that make them look rich but keep them poor. But you did see a portion of people who use this money to build wealth for themselves because the free money from the government was kind of like a stimulus check for their wealth, not a stimulus check for the rest of the economy. The fifth reason had to do with wages, because what people realized during this pandemic was a lot of people liked the ability to work from home. And a lot of jobs, traditional jobs, didn't offer that sort of flexibility, so the desirability for some of these jobs have gone down. And so what people are saying is some of these less desirable jobs haven't raised their wages enough to kind of benefit the lack of a nice lifestyle, where if somebody can go out and get a work from home job, they can live a much better lifestyle. So they're saying that now, especially because of the rising cost of living, the higher inflation, they need to be compensated more, especially for a job that doesn't provide them with the same lifestyle that they would get if they were doing a job where they had more flexibility or a better lifestyle. And then the sixth reason, which kind of just sounds like a filler reason because they couldn't come up with anything else, was it takes time. They're saying that it's going to just take time for people to go back to work, and we just got to give it time. We got to give the economy time to get back working, and we got to give people time to go back to work and to say that, hey, I should go back to my job. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide that goes over what passive income is, how to start generating passive income, and different passive income strategies. These are things that you can start doing even if you don't have a lot of money. So if you want to read this free guide on how to start generating passive income for free, all you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.